Hello, everyone. What I wanted to talk about today was the question of whether or not you can separate the art from the artist. And you're going to hear this rationalization coming from people that are caught listening to a band that is questionable or provocative. And fans of metal exist, some of them exist on the fringe of society. Metal is a genre that you go to if you're interested in the dark concepts of reality, and there's going to be some bad people that contribute to music making in the metal genre. Um, so you're going to hear that rationalization that I can listen to it because I separate the art from the artist, and I do not believe that is possible. And not only do I not think it's possible, but I don't think it should be encouraged. Uh, if you're presenting someone with art, the art should be the artist. The art should be the artist trying to communicate him or herself to the audience. The only time you can really say that there is no element of the artist in the art is if there is no substance in the art. And that is why I am very critical of bands that do not have their own sense of melody, their own message, their own presence on this channel. Because there is no artistry in that kind of music. You can enjoy that kind of music. There's no issues with that. I enjoy plenty of stuff that where I'm hearing the genre and not the player, and that used to be the thing that I would encounter most when I would be on tour with bands, is that I'm hearing the genres but not the player when there's going to be new bands on stage. I used to really get excited about who the opening bands were going to be, but very often it wound up being, if you were playing a show with like a bunch of stoner bands, you would end up hearing the typical kind of Sabbath worship that is now a genre staple. If you're going to be playing a death metal show, you're going to be hearing what is comfortable in the tenets of what death metal is. Same with black metal. It became it got to a point where you were just hearing the safe confines of each genre when you went to a show. And it was very rare that I walked out of a show that I played where I remembered the band based on their own unique presence. And that, to me, showcases that there is no artistry in the product that they are presenting. There's just the genre. But back to the topic at hand. If the way I look at something that is trying to present itself as art is there is a message in that art, there is a communication happening in that art, and part of the human experience is wanting to get to know other people. And if you are consuming art that is produced by people, if you want to go down the avenue that I do, you are going to want to be trying to understand the players involved. You want to hear the motives that made them start making the music. You want to hear the passion. And if you are coming from the perspective that you can separate the art from the artist, you're already negating that idea. And I get it. There's plenty of artists within the metal umbrella that have some very unpalatable beliefs. And I don't think we should censor those. I don't think we should ban them. I think we should try to understand those players based on what they're doing. Just a quick aside, good like maybe 15 or so years ago, I had a good friend of mine out of nowhere decide to one day kill both of his parents in two isolated incidents. And I have not yet talked to him since then, since before then. He was picked up by the cops. He's been sitting in jail. And when they found him, he had a notebook on him with my name and a lot of my friends' names in it. We don't know if that meant that he was going down a checklist of people that he was going to try to kill. Since that happened, I have been curious about wanting to talk to him, wanting to go to where he's being held and just ask him what was going on in his head that day, where that was the best course of action to him, what he thought while he was doing those things, why it was rationalized in his head that it was something that he needed to do. And I want to do that because I am attracted to different mindsets. I find it compelling to know that there are people that are completely hardwired differently than me. I want to know what is causing them to do the things that they do, why people put pen to paper, why people end up doing violent acts, something that I would never consider. I think that stuff is captivating. I like the idea that there are multiple avenues of thought out there yet to be understood by people, and I think that really fleshes out the human experience to try to immerse yourselves in what other people can think. I think when it comes to how people act predictably, people act safe. They do what they can to ensure that they're going to get from one day to the next without being threatened. But the way people think is entirely different, and that really intrigues me. I want to know when people are unburdened by outside society, what is really going on in their heads, and I think that's what art can be. I think that art can be limitless, and if you're gonna, it can really reveal the player or the painter or the sculptor or whatever. I think that's where the true beauty of art is, and that's what I want to experience when I listen to a new band. That's why I'm so hard on new bands that I can tell are just trying to jump in the same pool as other artists from before and try to make a name for themselves. And that's fine if you have something to say, but I'm not hearing the message in a lot of the new music. I'm not hearing the passion. I'm not hearing what drove you to buy the gear, what made you sit down and have such an intense emotion that you needed to create something, because if you didn't express it, you were going to feel empty. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to feel. And I think that the passion that compelled people to make metal prior to the turn of the century just really isn't there. Right now, there's people that are fans of the music and the way the formulas for the melodies work, and that's fine if you want to glean superficially from what metal sounds like and have that be what drives you to check out bands. That's totally cool, but there was a time where the personalities that made up the infancy of the metal genre were larger than life because they had something to say. They had something unique to present, and I think that if you try to separate the art from the artist, you're really limiting yourself on how you could fully understand the presentation that they're giving you. So not only do I think it's impossible to do so, I think that if there's always going to be elements of the artist in the art if there is inspiration to create beyond just a superficial gleaning of the elements of the genre. But you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't do it because it's going to end up sacrificing elements of what makes that particular art form important. And that's kind of my thoughts on that. This will be a shorter video, but like I said, metal is full of people good and bad. There's going to be bad people creating music in every genre. I don't think that we necessarily need to ignore products made by terrible people. I mean, there's stone cold murderers that made records that were in metal's infancy that are still classics. And if we were to try to stop analyzing products by people that have done something in the past that is not palatable to us, we're going to run out of stuff to analyze. So that's my thoughts on that. I'll focus on an actual band in the next video, and thank you for listening.